What is up, guys? I am Espionic. 5 years ago, the first game in the Senran Kagura series, called Senran Kagura Portrait of Girls, was released in Japan, and to celebrate, Marvelous has opened a new website which shows pictures representing the current titles in the series, and teases a new game for 2017. In case it wasn't obvious beforehand, Senran Kagura is very near and dear to me. I've been expressing my love for the series in a number of ways on my channel. I use music from the series all the time in my videos. Heck, I've been using one particular song as part of my intros for almost a year and a half now. I did my very first unboxing video, something I thought I'd never do, of 2 of the games, which, even with the poor recording quality I had for that, I'm still proud of that video, honestly. Just because it was kind of refreshing to really start talking about Senran Kagura. And ironically enough, 5 years ago, I don't even think I can admit to being a fan of something like Senran Kagura. I would have been so worried or ashamed of liking it back then because of, you know, its fan service, but I don't know, I guess I just have a bit more confidence in myself now and just don't give as much of a crap as about people knowing that I like something like that. And recording that unboxing video was definitely one of the most fun times I had recording a video. I'm kind of rambling right now, but yeah, I'm a big fan of the series, and hearing that there is going to be more of it has me excited. But now I guess that just begs the question, what is the game going to be? I usually don't bother doing a video focused entirely on speculating about something. It almost feels, I guess, pointless to do so. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but Senran Kagura has a way of making me do things I don't normally do. I've seen a few people talking earlier this year because Kenichiro Takaki, the creator and producer of the series, mentioned like some sort of announcement for the series this year. I thought it would be at Tokyo Game Show. I was kind of disappointed that there was nothing Senran Kagura related announced there, but anyway, people back then kind of brought up the idea of it being a different genre, like maybe an RPG or a fighting game, both of which could fit the series, but it seems like most people are thinking that the game is going to be Senran Kagura 3, and honestly, I think the game is going to be Senran Kagura 3. I mean, I could be totally wrong. It could be a different take on the series, but just the way they're teasing it on the site, it says something like in 2017, their fight continues, or the girls' fight continues, or something like that. That makes it seem like it's going to be the next major iteration. And the Versus games, they're technically major iterations. They're canon to the series, but I don't know. They're kind of like a sub-series type. They're kind of like a sub-series, and they just did a Versus game. The most recent game in the series is Estival Versus, so I don't think they would do another Versus game immediately afterwards, so that's why I'm thinking it's going to be Senran Kagura 3. And if it is Senran Kagura 3, that could be a potentially interesting scenario in terms of which platform they'll release it on. The entire series before Estival Versus was handheld exclusive, and now we have this clear separation of the very core main series and the Versus series, where the latter has been PlayStation exclusive. Well, it technically isn't now, since Shinobi Versus is now available on PC. And the former has been Nintendo exclusive, or specifically 3DS exclusive. But then again, there is the possibility of them putting the game on a home console, because they did that with the Versus game. Shinobi Versus was a handheld game when it was first released, and then the sequel, Estival Versus, had a handheld and home console release, so one would think they would want to do the same thing with the main series, and maybe have Senran Kagura 3 on a handheld and home console. And since the main series has been Nintendo exclusive so far, if they did go the Estival Versus route, then maybe Senran Kagura 3 could be released for the 3DS and Nintendo home console. But I guess some could argue that they probably want to do that, and it might just be Nintendo 3DS only. I even saw a couple of people suggest the idea of it being a new 3DS exclusive, and I don't think they would do that just because of how limited an audience that would be if it was just the new 3DS. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just a game for the 3DS family of hardware. It could be just that, since the original Senran Kagura Burst, which is an enhanced remake re-release of the original Senran Kagura, and Senran Kagura 2, they've all been strictly 3DS exclusive. They didn't make any of those games for the Wii U, and I heard that Takaki has mentioned the possibility of a Wii U Senran Kagura game before. I doubt that will happen now because the Wii U's era is coming to an end and the NX is imminent. And of course, speaking of the NX, the biggest rumor about the NX is that it's a handheld home console hybrid, and I will admit a number of things have kind of indicated that. But if the NX is indeed a hybrid, if the new game is indeed Senran Kagura 3, then maybe this game could be an NX exclusive, just because the NX would literally be set up to easily have the same sort of release that Estival Versus had. But then again, it could still be just a Nintendo 3DS game. All the main games have been just 3DS games. And Nintendo seems to want to keep the 3DS train going a little while longer. I mean, Nintendo's still releasing some pretty big guns for it still, like Pokemon Sun and Moon and a new Pikmin game, so I don't know, there are a lot of possibilities. Whatever the game turns out to be, if it's releasing in 2017 in Japan, then it won't come out until 2018 in the West, since it always seems to be a full year gap between the Japanese and American releases of the games, which is perfectly fine for me, honestly. I need time to catch up with the game series anyway. I'm still on Shinobi Versus. I haven't gotten to Deep Crimson or Estival Versus yet. For whatever dumb reason, I decided that I'm going to 100% each of the Senran Kagura games, which takes hundreds of hours for each game. They have a lot of content in them. And since I'm a stickler, I have to 100% one game before moving on to the next, but yeah, I love Senran Kagura. Beyond just the fan service, I'm not going to pretend that I don't enjoy the fan service from Senran Kagura, but I love everything about the series. I love the gameplay, I love the stories, I love the characters for their actual personalities, not just how they look. The characters are actually very three-dimensional. They have some pretty deep and dark backstories. The music, seriously, I love the music in the series so much. The music, I think, is the second sexiest thing about the entire series. But yeah, so knowing that we're going to see the next step forward in the series in the coming months makes me very happy. I think I should probably end this video before I really start rambling, so yeah, bye-bye, see you next time.